Hey everybody, it's Matt Riddell here. Look, I just want to share this little experience that a lot of people have been asking me about sinus problems and what you can do about it. A little bit of the background. From about age 17 onwards, it was actually, I think after I took some antibiotics, ended up getting a lot of sinus problems. I don't mean a little bit. I remember driving along in Rockhampton, which is where I'm from, and saying to my mum, I think my eyes are going to explode. There's something wrong with my eyes. And she's like, oh no, you've just got sinus problems. No idea how it started. As I said, it might have been from an antibiotic. I don't know. But from age 17, like it really affected my school life. If I'd get a sinus infection, I would be like out for, like it started off as a week, but then I'd take like a Augmentin Duo for it. By the time I got to college, it was like horrendous. I mean, like really, really bad. A good mate of mine, Ben Gibson, the Gib and I actually were both like fellow sufferers, and we used to have to use this thing called Otrivin, which was like an intensely hardcore spray, and yeah, it would drain all the gunk out. Didn't get rid of the infection. You could kind of breathe, but it was horrible. Anyway, I had a really good experience where I started just taking I started reading up like what can I do about it, because I didn't want to go for surgery. And if anyone is watching this and you've got sinus problems, you know what that's like. And I've heard so many cases since, by the way, of like where I went and got the surgery done and it didn't work, or it just grew back, and I just didn't feel right about the idea of having to widen out my nasal cavities. I thought there's got to be a better way, a natural way. So what happened to me was it was pure accident. I started taking some vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. That was pretty much all I started taking, and I got relief really quickly. I just stopped getting the infections. What happened then is I thought, wow, we could do a little bit more with this, and I started taking colostrum and some probiotics. Really interestingly, since doing that, I do not get sinus problems anymore. I've got an MRI, I can't find it, but it is in my archive somewhere, of like the cut of my head, and you could just see the inflammation and like filled up sinus cavities, and like right here, it was like, I don't know what it was. But anyway, so what I started doing, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, I twice a day took colostrum and probiotics, and it just doesn't recur. In fact, I rarely get sick anymore. And if I do, if I get like a cold or something, which is a virus, I personally find that I might be sick for like 24 to 48 hours, but I don't get the lung infection like I used to. I don't get the residual sinus that would then start, and it was a horrible experience. And I used to be like, man, 2 weeks of just being sick and tired and in pain. And it's like probably the most painful thing. It would be so bad that I used to have to want to get a drill and drill a hole in my head. That's how I actually felt. I remember being in Rocky one day going, I don't know how I'm going to get rid of this pressure. And the more I'd blow my nose, the worse the pressure would get. What I also discovered, and this came from, I lived in Argentina in South America for about a year. My host dad there took me to one of his friends, and they do things a little bit differently in Argentina. They're not so drug culture based. They're very mechanical about things. This guy put me in a chair, and they literally just sucked all of it out. Because anyone who's had sinus has always thought to themselves, man, I wish I could just suck that gunk out. Well, funnily enough, in Argentina, that's actually what they did for me. It was in a little tiny town called San Salvador de Jujuy, and they just got a saline solution, one thing's pumping it in one nostril, and then the other one, they're actually just sucking the gunk out. And they would take out a big cup of gunk, and I was like, man, I wish I could get that done all the time, which led me to this little idea of imagine if you could just do that. And I looked on the market in Australia, and at that stage I couldn't find anything, although recently 3 or 4 years ago I found this, and they actually make them quite commonly now. It's just like a Fess Sinocleanse. Neilmed makes one, and it's just a little saline solution, where all you do is you just fill this little pup. Oops. This is live, obviously. You just fill that with a little salt sachet that comes with it. So you fill that up there to where it says full. But what I did is I added a sanitizer in there. I'd fill it up to about that far, and just that last little bit, what I'd personally do, and I still do probably once a month just for the doubt, just rinse it all out, and it drains your sinuses out. But I would add a sanitizer that it's based on stabilized chlorine dioxide. It just kills all of the fungus, virus, bugs. It's fantastic stuff. A good friend of mine who's a holistic dentist was telling me about that, and I thought, yeah, it'll work. And now I understand why it does. But if you've got sinus problems, I'm just sharing what worked for me, because anytime I hear someone who's got a sinus problem, man, do I feel for you. It sucks. This definitely worked for me. And this one's also got xylitol in it, which is really good for killing bacteria. But if you use that with the sanitizer in it, I found it works really well. All I know is I don't get sinus problems. Like, I can't remember the last time I had one. But just working from an external and an internal point of view, and by the way, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health practitioner, I'm just a dude who suffered massively from sinus, tried everything I could. I mean, and just when you've had a result like that, you kind of owe it to tell people about it, because, you know, like, if you just keep taking antibiotics, it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, because the gut bacteria, there's a link between that, is all I know. And I haven't had to take antibiotics for ages. Like, I mean, years, just not on the radar anymore, and so it's kind of life-changing. Anyway, I hope this video helps. Get on some vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, probiotics, and colostrum, and get yourself one of these with some sanitizer to top it up as well. It really does supercharge it. It works without it, but I just find it even better. Have an awesome day. Hope this helps, and yeah, may you never have to suffer sinus problems again, just like I don't.